want you to just try to picture this for a second. You are this legendary film director from South India, right? And you are sitting on a super tense, like 2.5 hour flight to Delhi,
Oh, sweating it out, probably.
completely sweating it out because on your lap, or, maybe shoved in a bag under the seat, is this massive 700-page script.
Right, a total brick of a script.
Exactly. And you are on your way to pitch this wildly expensive, monumental, mythological epic, and your target, the guy you need to say yes, he's a 22-year-old actor who essentially has the entire film industry at his feet right now.
Which is just a crazy dynamic to walk into.
It really is. I mean, this kid commands upwards of 20 crores a film, which, for context, is an absolutely astronomical fortune in the Indian film industry. We are talking elite Hollywood-level compensation here.
Yeah, you are walking into the absolute definition of a high-stakes gamble. I mean, the odds are completely stacked against this meeting even happening smoothly, let alone, resulting in a partnership that basically rewrites the history of Indian cinema.
So true. Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. We are digging into Chapter 12 of our source material today, which is all about this historic first encounter between director S.S. Rajamouli and actor Anant Sharma.
Such a fascinating chapter.
It really is. And, for anyone listening who's maybe trying to land a massive client or forge some new business partnership or really just trying to figure out how to work with highly ambitious people, this breakdown is basically a masterclass in collaboration.
Absolutely. Because it's not even about the movie itself, really. It's about how these two minds connect.
Right. So let's jump in. Rajamouli gets off the plane, and he takes this anxiety-inducing, hour-long taxi ride through the notorious traffic of Old Delhi's narrow lanes.
Oh, I can't even imagine the nerves.
Right. He is spiraling and thinking, what if the kid isn't there? What if he won't even meet me? So the cab finally pulls up to this fading sign that just reads, Sharma Family Restaurant.
Yeah, and keep in mind, it is 11 in the morning on a Saturday.
Exactly, which should be dead quiet. But there are like 40 people waiting outside just hoping to get a glimpse of Anant.
And this is a really key detail from the source. Look at how those fans are behaving.
Yeah, it's really unusual.
It is. The text notes this one family entering the restaurant just ahead of Rajamouli. The kids are super excited. They're whispering, but the parents are actively pulling them back, saying, just let them work. We can ask for a photo after we eat.
Which is incredibly rare for a star of that magnitude.
Right. It's not that aggressive mob-like fan culture you usually see around a megastar.
Yeah.
It's this very specific boundary built on mutual respect.
And so Rajamouli finally walks in, bracing himself to deal with this massive, untouchable ego, right? And what does he find? The biggest star in Hindi cinema is wearing a simple cotton kurta and jeans.
Just totally dressed down.
Totally. Anant is behind the counter, efficiently plating these massive portions of spicy coal butcher, laughing with the neighborhood customers, and just helping his dad, Rajesh, run the Saturday lunch rush.
It's such a brilliant, disarming visual.
It really is. I mean, think about it like it's like a Silicon Valley visionary showing up to pitch a mission to Mars, and he finds his lead astronaut just like making lunch for the neighborhood.
Yeah, it immediately shatters the psychological hierarchy of a typical pitch. Because Rajamouli is expecting a diva who needs to be coddled. Instead, he gets a young man wiping his hands on a towel, literally doing manual labor for his family business.
Right. But it's not just a display of humility, is it?
No, not at all. It's actually a demonstration of extreme situational awareness, which ties perfectly into Ani's background.
Oh, right, the military training.
Exactly. He had recently gone through this intense preparation for his role in the film Yuri. He didn't just learn to act like a soldier, he internalized that hypervigilance.
So he's always scanning the room.
Yes. The text points out that even while serving food, his eyes are constantly sweeping the restaurant. He spots Rajamouli the literal second he walks in.
Registers the surprise on the director's face.
Yep. He whispers to his father to take over the counter and just seamlessly shifts modes. He doesn't make the director wait in some VIP room. He doesn't make him navigate an entourage of managers.
He just walks over and serves Rajamouli a plate of food himself.
Which completely shifts the dynamic from a stressful pitch to a meeting of grounded professionals.
It's brilliant. That humble working-class exterior is basically a Trojan horse, because it totally masks this intimidating, deeply analytical intellect that Rajamouli is about to experience firsthand.
Oh, yeah. The intellect is wild.
So Anant sits down, offers this flawless fusion breakfast of parathas and complex chutneys, and greets the director in perfect, unaccented English.
Which catches Rajamouli off guard again. He was probably expecting Hindi or maybe broken English.
Right, and Anant casually credits his time at IIT India's premier engineering institute. He approaches conversations not just as an artist, but as a literal engineer.
Which becomes super apparent when they start talking about films.
Oh, totally, because Anant reveals he's a massive fan of Rajamouli's Telugu films, but he doesn't just offer empty industry flattery, oh, I love your work. He provides this granular masterclass level analysis,
Yeah, he specifically brings up Eega.
which is just a wild film.
It is. For those who don't know, it's a film with this completely absurd premise about a murdered man who gets reincarnated as a housefly, seeking revenge.
Sounds ridiculous on paper.
Right. But Anant dissects the exact integration of practical effects and CGI that Rajamouli used. He explains how those technical choices made an inherently ridiculous concept actually emotionally resonant.
And then he pivots to the historical epic Magadheera and praises its spatial combat staging.
Which is such a technical thing to notice. Spatial combat staging is basically the complex geometry of filming an action sequence.
Right, keeping track of where everyone is.
Exactly. It's how a director maps out where the hero is relative to, like, 50 enemies in three-dimensional space, so the audience never loses their sense of geography. It requires a highly mathematical brain.
But wait, I have to pause here. Isn't this kind of risky? I mean, a 22-year-old actor sitting across from a master director, basically lecturing him on his own use of CGI and spatial geometry?
It could definitely cross the line into arrogance, yeah.
It sounds like it could easily backfire.
It could, if it were delivered as a critique. But Anant delivers it as a peer, because he reveals he is actually a VFX developer himself.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. He studies the mechanical engineering of how films are constructed just as intensely as the stories they tell. By proving he understands the actual craft, the math, the physics of the camera, the lighting, he bypasses that traditional actor-director hierarchy entirely.
So it's actually the ultimate sign of respect.
Exactly. He shows Rajamouli, look, I'm not just a face to put on a poster. I am a fellow technician.
And because he establishes himself as a technical equal, they get to just skip that tedious Hollywood courtship phase entirely. They finish breakfast and move straight to the cramped back office with Anand's father, Rajesh.
And this next sequence is just phenomenal.
It really is. So Rajamouli physically hands over the bound 700-page scripts for Baahubali Parts 1 and 2 and hefts this massive document, opens it, and insists on reading the text while Rajamouli narrates the emotional beats out loud.
Which is, Rajamouli is understandably hesitant.
Yeah, how do you even do that?
Reading a densely formatted screenplay requires immense visual focus. Listening to a passionate oral narration requires completely different auditory processing. Trying to do both simultaneously should just result in cognitive overload.
But Rajesh, the dad, just tells the director to go ahead. He casually mentions that his son has a photographic memory and used to read complex textbooks while auditing college lectures.
The cognitive load of that is staggering to even imagine.
It's like trying to read the sheet music for a symphony, tracking every single note, while the composer is standing next to you, screaming the emotional tempo in your ear.
Your visual and auditory processing are just fighting for bandwidth.
But Rajamouli starts narrating this sweeping tale of betrayal, ancient Indian kingdoms, waterfalls taller than skyscrapers, and Anant just sits there methodically turning pages.
Absorbing the text and the emotional intention all at once.
Yeah. 45 minutes later, he closes the 700th page. He pauses, extends his hand across the desk, and simply says, "Let's make this film, sir."
No hesitation.
Yeah.
He bypasses his management team entirely.
Right.
He doesn't consult a PR firm about the optics of doing a regional Telugu project. He doesn't even ask about the budget or his salary.
Which leaves Rajamouli genuinely shell-shocked. I mean, why is a superstar so quick to throw standard career calculations right out the window?
Because it reveals his absolute script-first philosophy. Anant recognizes immediately that a 700-page script isn't born from some cynical commercial calculation.
A studio committee definitely doesn't write 700 pages.
Exactly. It's born from this rare, almost manic passion. And when Rajamouli gently brings up the language barrier because it's going to be shot in Telugu and then just shrugs it off.
He's like, I'll just learn it.
Yeah. He tells him, I'll learn Telugu. If I could learn military tactics for a role, I can learn a language. He treats it as just another technical requirement for a great project.
And his ability to process this massive two-part story as one unified epic in those 45 minutes, that leads directly to his next proposal, which is highly controversial.
Oh, very.
Anant tells Rajamouli they cannot shoot these films separately. They need to shoot both parts back to back, simultaneously.
Which, in the film industry, especially for an unproven astronomically expensive epic, is virtually unheard of.
Right. Because Rajamouli immediately defends the industry standard. He argues for logical risk management. You shoot part one, release it, see if the audience actually cares.
If it makes any money.
Right. And then you decide if you have the capital to shoot part two. From a business perspective, front-loading the budget for two massive epics without testing the market is completely financially reckless.
But this is where Anant transitions from a technical actor into a visionary producer. He argues that the industry standard is artistically bankrupt. If you shoot them separately, you inevitably start making creative decisions based on commercial fears rather than narrative continuity.
Ah, I see.
Like, let's say you shoot part one. The studio gets nervous that the ending is too ambiguous, so they force you to change it to make it a standalone hit.
And now you've completely compromised the setup for part two.
Exactly. Just hedge your financial bets.
Yeah.
And it refuses to let commercial paranoia infect the story.
And he actually backs it up with hard logistics, right?
Right.
He pledges financial backing through his own company, Maya VFX, alongside his uncle Ronnie.
He leverages his own reputation.
Yeah, he promises to bring in heavy-hitting distributors like Foxstar and PVR, INOX, people who have profited from his past films and trust his judgment implicitly.
He guarantees Rajamouli that if they commit to the full vision without compromising, it won't just be a successful movie, it'll be a historic pan-Indian event.
He is protecting the film's artistic integrity over individual ego or financial safety.
Because audiences can feel when a story has been focus grouped into a safe compromise.
Absolutely. And that holistic view of the project drives Anant to make his next move, which is this genuinely shocking casting recommendation.
The villain.
Yes. They have their hero, but Rajamouli admits he has a massive problem. No antagonist. He hasn't found a villain powerful enough or physically intimidating enough to pose a believable threat to Anant's character.
And Anant immediately asks, have you considered Sudheer Babu?
Which completely catches Rajamouli off guard. Sudheer Babu is a working Telugu actor, a former professional badminton player. Rajamouli knew his work, but had mentally dismissed him.
Yeah, he viewed Sudheer as maybe too young and honestly just too pleasant-looking to play a brutal, terrifying antagonist.
But Anant had done his homework. He points to a film called Bagi, where he analyzed Sudheer's performance.
Oh, the martial arts aspect.
Yes. He tells Rajamouli that Sudheer practices Kalari Payattu, this ancient Indian martial art. It involves these incredibly low stances, high-flying acrobatics, and just this lethal, fluid grace.
Anant argues that specific background gives Sudheer a predatory grace that is genuinely frightening on screen.
Raw athleticism that you can't fake with stunt doubles.
And Rajamouli trusts Anant's analytical eyes so deeply in this moment that he literally pulls out his phone right there in the restaurant's cramped office and calls Sudheer in Hyderabad.
The juxtaposition here is incredible. Sudheer is just at home, playing with his young daughters while his wife, Priyadarshini, makes lunch. Just a guy who has built a respectable career but hasn't had that one massive breakthrough.
And his phone rings.
It's S.S. Rajamouli offering him the role of a lifetime. And he makes sure to explicitly state, Anant Sharma recommended you.
Sudheer is utterly stunned. He later tells his wife he has never even met Anant Sharma in person.
Which is wild. I mean,
Yeah.
in the entertainment industry, a lead actor handpicking their villain is usually like a superstar basketball player picking a much shorter, slower guy to play one-on-one against for a promo video.
Right, they want someone who makes them look better by comparison.
They want all the glory. So why is the biggest, highest-paid star in Hindi cinema actively advocating for the most physically menacing, scene-stealing opponent he can possibly find?
It reveals this profound radical security in his own talent. When Rajamouli points out how unusual this generosity is, Anant just uses simple logic. He says, why would I feel threatened by other talented people? The better everyone around me is, the better the final product.
It's so true. A legendary hero is only as compelling as the villain he has to overcome.
And Sudheer realizes this immediately. He tells his wife that Anant must be an incredibly secure person, and it fills Sudheer with this immense determination to physically transform himself into a villain worthy of that faith.
Because Anant isn't operating on vanity, he's operating on legacy.
Yeah.
And building that kind of legacy requires massive personal sacrifice. Which brings us to the timeline for this back-to-back production strategy.
The sheer scale of the time commitment is just daunting.
Rajamouli lays it out. 2 full months just for pre-production. Following that, Anant will need 6 months of intensive Spartan warrior physical training.
And this isn't just lifting weights for a modern gym bro aesthetic.
No, they need an ancient, grounded warrior physique. Deep yoga, Kalari martial arts, intense diets. And during those 6 months, he also has to become conversationally fluent in Telugu.
And only then do they begin 18 straight months of grueling principal photography.
Total time commitment. 2.5 years.
Rajesh, listening to all this, immediately voices the reality of the situation. Anant is coma too. By the time this wraps, he'll be nearly 25.
He's putting all his creative and physical resources during his absolute peak career-building years into one single, highly experimental basket.
If you're listening to this, think about that from a modern career perspective. Locking yourself into one single project for 2.5 years in your early 20s.
What is practically career suicide?
We live in an era of constant content. Actors are churning out 4 or 5 projects a year just to maintain visibility.
The algorithm demands constant feeding. Stepping away for 2.5 years risks being completely forgotten by the culture.
But Anant's response perfectly encapsulates his philosophy. He tells Rajamouli, quick films are disposable. Epics are eternal. I want to create something eternal.
Gives you chills. He fundamentally rejects the modern idea of visibility as a metric for success.
He views career advancement as a byproduct, not a goal. If you do deeply meaningful work, legacy follows naturally. If you chase success directly with safe jobs, you lose the meaning entirely.
He tells his father, point blank, he would rather spend 2 years bleeding to create something historic than waste those years on safe, forgettable projects that disappear a week after they release.
That shared clarity of purpose cements the partnership. Rajamouli leaves Delhi secure in the knowledge that they are about to make the impossible inevitable.
Looking at this entire encounter, there are some undeniable takeaways for all of us. First, technical fluency is the ultimate equalizer. Anant didn't rely on his fame. He spoke the director's specific language.
Right. Mastering the mechanics of your craft commands instant respect.
And second, true collaboration requires radical security. Are you secure enough to intentionally bring people into your orbit who might outshine you?
It really forces you to evaluate your own ambitions. Are you hedging your bets and protecting your ego? Or are you willing to risk your prime years to build something that actually lasts?
Are you playing it safe, or are you building something eternal? It's a great question to carry with you. But before we finish, there is one lingering detail from the source material that completely shifts how you view this entire story.
Oh, the original casting plan.
Yes. The text briefly notes at the very end that this legendary partnership only happened because Rajamouli's original dream for the film had nearly died from casting complications.
The initial plan had completely fallen apart.
Think about the butterfly effect of that failure. If Rajamouli's first, probably safer, casting choice had worked out, this historic epic would never have reached the heights it did.
It's crazy to think about.
The greatest achievements often only happen because an earlier, more comfortable plan shatters, forcing you to take a massive leap into the unknown.
Absolutely.
So consider the broken plans in your own life right now. Maybe they aren't failures at all. Maybe they are just clearing the way for your own epic. Until next time, thanks for taking the deep dive with us.